Urban Warfare Unleashed. Filipino soldiers and American infantry in the bloody fight for Manila. Before the fire and the fury, it was a city of grace, the pearl of the Orient. Manila, with its vibrant culture and elegant architecture, stood as a beacon in the Pacific. But in the heart of the Second World War, this jewel was about to suffer a fate worse than many cities. This is not simply a story about liberation. It's a chilling chronicle of annihilation. For one brutal, unforgettable month, Filipino guerrillas and American soldiers would fight side by side, street by street. They were not just fighting a fanatical enemy, but the very city they were desperately trying to free. This is the story of a Pyrrhic victory, a victory that came at the cost of everything. Chapter 1. The Promise and the Defiance. By early 1945, the end of the Pacific War was in sight. For General Douglas MacArthur, retaking the Philippines was a personal crusade to fulfill his famous promise, "I shall return." After his 6th Army landed in January 1945, MacArthur issued an urgent order to the 1st Cavalry Division. Get to Manila. Free the internees at Santo Tomas. But the city's fate was tragically caught between two Japanese commanders. General Tomoyuki Yamashita, the senior commander, saw a battle in the capital as a suicidal bloodbath. He ordered a full withdrawal to the mountains, wanting to spare the city, just as MacArthur had declared Manila an open city in 1941. However, Rear Admiral Sanji Iwabuchi refused to obey. The commander of the city's naval defense force, Iwabuchi was tormented by the disgrace of losing his battleship, the Kirishima, at Guadalcanal. For him, Manila was not a city to be abandoned, but a final chance to erase his shame with a glorious fight to the death. His personal quest for honor would condemn the Pearl of the Orient to ruin, as his 16,000 men began turning the city into a fortress. Chapter 2. The Race to the City and the Guerrilla Guides. As American columns raced toward Manila, they were not alone. For 3 years, Filipino resistance fighters had waged a shadow war against the occupiers. Now they emerged as a vital force, providing what U.S. intelligence called the best intelligence data on Luzon. One of these men was Captain Manuel Coleco, a U.S. FFE guerrilla officer who had survived the Bataan Death March. Coleco and his unit guided the 1st Cavalry's flying column through Japanese defenses on the city's outskirts. On February 3, 1945, they led the first American troops into Manila, pushing straight for Santo Tomas University. Thousands of Allied civilians had been imprisoned there for 3 years. During a firefight at the main gate, Captain Coleco was hit. He died 7 days later, his sacrifice a symbol of the costly role Filipinos played in liberating their own capital. As this happened, the 11th Airborne Division parachuted south of the city, creating a pincer movement. But Iwabuchi's forces were waiting inside a death trap. Chapter 3. The Hell of Urban Warfare. MacArthur's dream of a quick liberation evaporated. He found a meticulously prepared killing ground. Iwabuchi's men had turned Manila into a fortress of concrete and steel. Major intersections held camouflaged pillboxes. Massive naval guns were embedded in government buildings. Streets were laced with mines, funneling Americans into kill zones. The city's modern, earthquake-resistant government buildings became bunkers. After the Japanese blew the bridges over the Pasig River, the fight for Manila degenerated into a brutal house-by-house struggle. Soldiers learned new tactics on the fly, blasting holes through apartment walls and using assault teams with flamethrowers. To the south, the 11th Airborne was stopped by the Genco Line, a belt of mutually supporting pillboxes. It was there that Private First Class Manuel Perez Jr., a scout, single-handedly charged the fortifications. Weaving through enemy fire, he used grenades and his rifle to systematically neutralize one pillbox after another. His incredible solo charge broke the Japanese line, allowing his company to advance. For this bravery, PFC Perez was recommended for the Medal of Honor. but he was killed by a sniper a month later. For the 1 million civilians trapped inside, the battle was an apocalypse. As Americans pushed deeper, Iwabuchi's men unleashed the Manila Massacre, a systematic extermination. They went on a horrific rampage of murder, torture, and rape, using civilians as human shields and burning entire districts. The American advance brought its own destruction. Initially, MacArthur restricted heavy artillery to spare the city. But as U.S. casualties mounted, the rules changed. As one commander stated, American lives were understandably far more valuable. A relentless artillery barrage pounded the city. Howitzers fired directly into buildings, killing Japanese defenders, but also countless civilians. Caught between Japanese malice and American firepower, the people of Manila suffered a horror almost without equal. Chapter 4. The Final Assault on the Walled City. By late February, the battle contracted to its final bastion, Intramuros. Its stone walls, up to 6 meters thick, were a formidable fortress. Inside, Admiral Iwabuchi and his remaining men prepared for a final stand, holding thousands of civilians hostage. Pleas for surrender were met with defiance. On February 23rd, the final assault began with a massive artillery preparation from 140 guns that blasted huge breaches in the ancient walls. Infantry of the 37th Division stormed through the gaps, leading to a hellish, close-quarters fight in the rubble. During the chaos, the Japanese murdered most of the male hostages before releasing about 3,000 other civilians. Around February 26th, with his command destroyed, Admiral Sanji Iwabuchi committed suicide. He had achieved his twisted redemption, paid for with the soul of the city. The last pockets of resistance were cleared. And on March 3, 1945, MacArthur declared Manila officially liberated. Chapter 5. A Ruined Pearl. An Enduring Alliance. The Battle of Manila was over. The month-long struggle had cost American forces over 1,000 killed and more than 5,500 wounded. Over 16,000 Japanese defenders were dead. But the true, staggering cost was paid by the Filipino people. At least 100,000 civilians perished, roughly 1 out of every 10 residents of the city. The Pearl of the Orient lay in utter ruin, a cityscape of ash and rubble that rivaled the destruction of Warsaw. A memorial plaque in the city today captures the profound loss. Let this monument be the gravestone for each and every one of the over 100,000 men, women, children, and infants killed in Manila. We have not forgotten them, nor shall we ever forget. The liberation of Manila was a necessary strategic victory, but an undeniable human catastrophe. It was achieved through the courage of soldiers like PFC Manuel Perez Jr., the vital guidance of Filipino patriots like Captain Manuel Coleco, and the overwhelming firepower of an army that was ultimately forced to destroy a city in order to save it. The battle stands as a brutal, haunting testament to the horrors of urban warfare and a tribute to the shared sacrifice of the Filipino and American soldiers. Thank you for staying with us through this powerful story of courage, sacrifice, and shared history. Leave a comment below and share what moment in this story touched you most or changed how you see this chapter of history. And if you want to be part of our community, exploring more stories like this, hit subscribe and join us on future adventures into the past. We're glad you chose to watch today, and we can't wait to see you in the next one. God bless us all.